Ayuscetic does not contain medical advice. We are not doctors nor other featured guests. The content on all our accounts, channels, websites and products, services and platforms such as videos, text, graphics, images and other material are intended for entertainment, informational and educational purposes only, and not for the purpose of rendering medical advice. All our content is not intended to substitute professional medical advice, diagnosis, nor treatment. Although we make efforts to keep medical information in our material updated, we cannot guarantee that the information that we publish reflects the most up-to-date research. Nice. Second trial.
All right.
Second trial. Philipp and me we are technic freaks, technical geeks. So we just recorded my voice the last time and missed all of your precious content.
Yeah.
But anyways, we have much more to catch up on and much more to talk about.
We're bad Germans.
We're bad Germans.
We're bad Germans.
Yeah. a prototype of Germans with technical problems. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, so just to be very polite to the listeners and to the watchers, we thought that we give a brief summary about our last conversation and share the conclusions from that time, right?
Go ahead.
Well, yeah, I mean, first of all, yeah, you shared your almost perfect, optimal, and very elaborated daily routine with me. That inspired me because with my current family situation, it's almost impossible to adhere to such discipline. But yeah, I mean, it's good to have an ideal and to strive for it. In that daily routine, I mean, literally everything was settled, like you had everything perfectly well thought out about the timing of your sleep, the light exposure, to which quality of light, red light, blue light, the timing of the nutrition, the quality of the nutrition, when you exercise, the supplementation timing. For me, it was nice actually to learn about that you use different apps and different chats for business, for private, for friends, and so on. That allows you to also have probably a peace of mind, right? So you're not always available for business conversations. You just have a look at them at a certain time once a day or something, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people know that I'm only available from this to this time. Mm-hmm. Afterwards, they just have to call me the next day.
Exactly. Nobody is going to die in 24 hours. I mean, it's just human. It's probably common sense, basic respect. Here in my valley where I live, we know everyone. Everyone knows everyone around here. We are about 150 people. And I mean, there's also, of course, a respect between each other and a healthy distance, but also a healthy disposition to help each other. So I could go to anyone and knock at his door, her door, and ask for help, or they can come here and ask for help if I have something to offer for them. But I wouldn't be available for them like at any point during the evening or something. Common sense, actually. It's just that probably the modern digital world it confuses this. It's easy to lose track. Okay. Yeah. So anyways, we also went deep into breath work the last time. That was nice. We recommended the book. What was it? Just Breath. I guess it was Just Breath by James Nestor, which is a very perfect choice for anyone already who is also working already in breath work, but also who just wants to start, because it's the complete supervision of the history of breathwork, but also practical applications. So after that, you can already, you must say, you're an expert. And you shared the how was it called, the technique, box breathing, right? 4 seconds inhale, for example, then 4 seconds staying in the inhale, 4 seconds exhale, and then 4 seconds pausing. And you do this. while you watch
It's
the
less about the seconds itself. It's about a regular rhythm. So when that you inhale through your nose best, and you inhale, for example, 4 seconds, you hold your breath, might only be 4 seconds, and then you exhale for 4 seconds, and you hold your breath again. And in this case, actually, it might make more sense to do it breathing through the nose if you're not well adjusted. So like this, you can train yourself to unconsciously breathe through your nose, especially when you sleep.
Yes, I like it. But in comparison to mouth breathing, is there any moment where you consciously mouth breathe?
When I work out.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I like to hyperventilate before a superset. Like if I just do one set all in, like to complete muscle failure, I like to hyperventilate before, but I still breathe into the nose and I exhale through the mouth.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I do as well.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Nice. And so we concluded that in the mainstream, even medicine, I would say often there is the confusion that we breathe for oxygen, but actually it's primarily because we want to decrease or exhale carbon monoxide. Let me just check my notes. We want to offload carbon dioxide, and we increase the amount of CO2 in the body. So the oxygen is inside this equation, but the important thing for the body is to increase the amount of CO2 in the body. So it's not primarily about the oxygen. And this has these huge longevity effects because how CO2 interacts with our organs and also with detoxification of the organs is the key to all of this puzzle, to the magic. Yeah. So that was that point.
I could add a few more breathing techniques I do at the moment.
Nice.
So the one,
I even invite you maybe to guide a small session for us, maybe for 1 or 2 minutes. So we take advantage of the moment.
Okay, let's see how we do it. So I described the box breathing technique. This is what I do if I am at a neutral state. I don't want to be more awake. I don't want to calm down. So this is why I have natural breathing patterns. The same time that I breathe in, it's the same time that I breathe out. So now, if I want to get awake, if I want to concentrate on something, if I want to feel tired, if I want to bump up my adrenaline. So they actually have 2 techniques. One is really simple. It's just breathing in longer than I breathe out. And I might be just through the nose, like really intense. Like this.
Yeah.
So, and this is something I do while I do my daily or almost daily stretching routine. And my stretching routine is usually right before I work, right before I really get into my day. And I feel into myself, how my state is. Do I need to be more awake? Do I need to be more alert? And at the same time, I make the decision if I feel a bit anxious, if I'm too much in my body, in my sensations, or if I'm too distracted by the outside world. If I'm too much in my body, I do my breathing and my stretching with open eyes. I fixate one point. And on the flip side, I would close my eyes. If there's too much going on the outside, I want to feel into myself. I just close my eyes. And there, another technique comes into play. I'll get back to the other adrenaline technique. So now the technique is where actually you would have longer exhales. So this could be just super long. It could be ongoing.
Yeah.
And or it could be just
Like twice or thrice inhaling.
as much air as I can, as fast, and
Mhm.
then breathing out slowly, but do it in a faster way. So this is what I can do if I have less time, if I wanna see a faster result. So it's a quicker change in mindset, one could say.
Yeah, we should make some fucking breathwork sessions one day here in the jungle with good microphones, so that we
Mhm.
can also record the breathing. Because now I didn't hear you, but I get your point.
Mhm.
It's a good challenge for us Germans to describe this in English. Um, I would do, yeah, I can relate to you in the longer exhale when I stretch in the afternoon post workout. That was
Mhm.
also the discussion point that we had. You like to stretch in the morning before pre-workout, right?
Um, Now I changed that. So I have
Mhm.
mobilization. I did some dynamic stretching,
Okay, good.
especially before skateboarding, less
Mhm.
before working out.
Okay.
But before we get too much into this,
Yeah.
um, let's stick with the breathing.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
whenever I feel stress coming up, I try to adapt my breathing. So because we're really busy, we're working all the time, we're pushing our limits, we're working out, we have all our social contacts, we have a minimum of sleep to perform on the highest level. So there's a lot of stress on our body.
Hmm.
And of course, that's why we adapt our nutrition. It's antioxidant rich, but the breathing is such a strong tool. And for that, I have a little device. The original brand is the Relaxator, and it basically allows you to breathe in normally through the device or just through your nose. And when you breathe out through your mouth, it's just a little hole. So you don't have to consciously think about it. Just when you feel like, okay, even when you're working and stress is coming up, for example, you read an annoying message
Hmm.
and you're like, ah, damn. And then you just like, you have it laying here and you just put it in your mouth. So I think this is really helpful.
Mhm.
But the other thing I wanted to describe is actually to really push up your adrenaline.
Mhm.
And this
Mhm.
is the Wim Hof or the Tumo breathing. It's a little bit more complex. And this I do when I feel like I'm getting sick. Some people do that before they go into the ice bath. So
Mhm.
that's why Wim Hof breathing. Um, I rather don't like to indulge myself in techniques like this before I go into the ice bath because I actually want to have the chalk. I want to have my adrenaline to be low and then get the stimulation from the ice bath. But yeah, here it depends how cold it is, how long you will be immersed. So usually when he has the seminars, for what I've seen, it can be really intense. So I understand, but this is nothing you do on a daily basis just to improve your health.
Hmm.
Do you know it?
It
The
would
Tumo
it would
breathing?
definitely burn out some neurons there if we would do that every day. That's for sure.
Not, I wouldn't say not necessarily. And for what I know, it's as effective if you do it every day.
Mhm.
And actually, when you learn something,
Mhm.
and best you have this period of 90 minutes where you can concentrate or fully concentrate on something, maybe not in the first 5 minutes natural, but then around about 90 minutes. And when you actually increase your adrenaline afterwards,
Mhm.
your brain will be better at digesting and remembering this information. And there you could drink a coffee, which is contradictory because usually you might drink it before you learn. So the coffee will boost your adrenaline, or you could just take a cold shower or do the Tumo breathing. So
Yeah, that was also reference to Huberman Lab. In
yeah.
one podcast they also talk about if you want to improve the connection of neurons after studying or learning, for example, you would just raise your adrenaline, right?
Yeah,
So
he has a really good
some
video about
uphill or
that,
downhill swings.
reviewing all the different
Mhm.
studies.
So someone might ask how we would know all of this and why do we think that we are experts? That's because we're just some fucking reincarnated yogis here. We know each other from 5,000 years ago in the lifetime in the Himalaya. No, but jokes aside, we can
No, we're just some fucking nerds. We're just those fitness nerds.
yeah. No,
But we feel amazing and we're happy. So fuck
yeah,
it.
exactly. Nowadays I'm so grateful and I'm so happy that I avoided university, bro. For some time, I was even um sometimes regretting or sad that I didn't push university. But if I look back now and see how much hundreds of hours I actually could invest into studying without any dogma and
Mm.
following my own path and intuition and ask questions and also find serious answer, also scientific answer. I mean, most of the time we both probably consume informations from doctors, from professors, but we have our free university and like it feels like doing a degree in myself, you know. I'm not doing a degree for someone else. But before we actually go into some more sound and scientific topics,
Just to throw something in there,
yeah,
something practical for everyone.
go for it.
Um, this is something I remind myself of when I come to moments like this, when thoughts like this come up,
Mm,
or when I have conversation with friends or friends that may be studying or studying still, they're a little bit younger.
mm,
Then I tell them only practical knowledge is real knowledge. Because if you don't practice it, if you can't apply it,
mm.
why should you have the knowledge?
Yeah,
And you will forget it. This is not how we work. In the
absolutely.
studies, you have all the knowledge. Same in school. You have to learn the things to yeah, have good exams, have good grades, and then in the end, most of it you will not use in your job anyways.
Most
And you have to read it because usually it's a vomit learning. So you learn everything right before the exam, and you have in your mind, okay, like I learned that because I have to be good at the exam. So
mm,
alone the mindset switch can help a lot if you train yourself to think, okay, how this can actually practically be applied in my life. So like
mm.
this is how I always felt at math class. And when we ask a teacher, it's like, what the fuck do we need to shit for? And the teacher didn't have any answer.
Yeah. But for me, it's even the other way around. Like usually I'm confronted with some real life, practical, physical problem here in on my property,
Mhm.
or in my business. And then I get the answer, how do I solve it? Or with my body, I'm training and I get this question. But uh, I don't search or research information on the internet without any orientation or why I would need to know this, and then ask myself, how would I implement this? How do I practice this? No, it's always a
Yeah.
problem. So I am already physically in an embodied form experiencing the problem, and then I need to solve it. So then automatically by default, the solution will be completely remembered because I immediately implemented, and I'm so happy that I could solve the problem. And I do it over and over again. And it makes completely sense why this is also logically on a
Mhm.
rational basis. So yeah, I mean that's real life university.
But
Um
it's contradictory on how our mind works and what
yeah.
our mind enjoys. alone the practice
Why
of
so?
learning, of evolving,
Uh-huh.
alone when you look at dopamine circuits,
Hmm.
but easy for everyone to relate. It's enjoyable to get better at something. And
Yeah.
yeah, then you become a theory nerd. When I look back 10 years ago and I was going out with guys and we were reading about psychology and learning to get good with women, and there were always not some, there were a lot of guys, and
Yeah.
like they were talking with each other about all those techniques, but then when it actually came to the moment and there was a beautiful woman walking on the street,
Hmm.
they were like standing like with each other like in in a circle like some little raptors and just talking to each other like what should they do. And because they were just afraid, and they thought to themselves, okay, I'm not good enough. They didn't believe in themselves. But
Hmm.
belief in yourself, you just you develop by doing something,
Hmm.
and then you will be successful. And because you've been successful in the past, you will be able to rely on yourself. You will learn to trust yourself.
Hmm. Yeah, I guess you refer to a very important aspect in being a man in the masculine world, where we are all completely self-made. It sounds hard, but I for me it always helped me to swallow the bitter pill that I didn't come to this life with an inherent worth. Actually, like I had to gain my worth. I had to work for it, to learn, to study, to become stronger, to help people, to solve problems, to become famous. But I was not born pretty, or I'm not the recipient
Come
of
on.
life. I'm not able to give life. I'm not able to make a
Yeah.
baby and give it to the world. So there was no inherent like worth, self-worth, you know. Of course, my mother
Hmm.
loved me unconditionally, and she, like, they implement the most important chip in the beginning, but still it is a constant struggle. And sometimes I would even say that I had to learn to enjoy pain, to a degree, not a self-destructive pain, but as you say, there is, referring for example to the women, overcoming yourself to go to talk to them without any uh, predisposed idea that you're not worth it. Or also for the training, like, no, I'm weak, I'm fat. No, you have to endure this for a moment, and then you get
It's
the result,
it's
you
exactly the same.
know.
You do it because it's hard. And this is actually, again, we're back at dopamine.
Yeah.
I read a book about it, just about dopamine. Like,
Mhm.
look at what a fucking nerd I am.
Yeah,
But it's
give
so
us
practical,
some
and
nuggets.
it's the same situation. You do something hard, and in the moment you think, okay, this is hard, and I love that it's hard because uh, then afterwards I
I
will
will feel
feel
so much
better.
better.
My dopamine levels will well rise because of that.
Mhm.
They will be evaluated. They will be at a different
Elevated.
stage,
Mhm.
elevated, exactly, elevated, and naturally. And if you usually have this baseline, then you add this baseline. So just doing hard things will
Yeah.
make you more happy and more fulfilled.
Mhm. Well, that would be a good bridge to go into the master amino acid pattern that we talked about last time, profoundly, in the context of fasting. Fasting is
Mhm.
not something that is necessarily pleasurable, that we would enjoy by default. Fasting is not eating, not having calories. We are biologically disposed to seek calories, to find calories, and to actually get fat, to have reserves for bad times. And usually you have higher rates of fertility when the tribe can eat a lot. And you will have, you wouldn't say naturally, oh, I don't like to eat. I feel better if I not eat. Yeah, naturally, like most people living in nature where there is no abundance, you cannot go to the supermarket, they will tell you, I like to eat, please give me food, you know. But then when we meditate a little bit deeper, we find out, okay, if we sometimes have periods without eating, which previously, anciently happened automatically because sometimes we just didn't find food. But nowadays that we always have the fridge full, we had to relearn in the same context that sometimes it's good to endure the suffering of hunger or endure a few more hours of just not eating because of the results afterwards. We will lose body fat that will be amazing for our insulin, you know, for our blood sugar, for all sorts of symptoms that will decrease, for all sorts of better concentration, better strength that will increase.
It's one of the best things that you can do. If you're overweight, if you want to be healthy, even if you do it with bad nutrition, you could just be in a calorie minus, just losing weight, just losing predominantly fat when you combine it with working out. But even if you're not working out and you lose like kind of half fat, half muscle, it's still healthy, really healthy if you're overweight. So this would be the number one tool to choose. You know, like now we talk about all those details and people were like, okay, like where do I even start?
Yeah.
That's a starting point.
Of course, it's better to fast and then when you feast that you have high quality proteins, but it will still be better to fast with low quality calories later, because you just want to be a fucking fat face, you know. And sometimes I even get angry because when people come there and they say, oh, fasting is so hard, I'm hungry, I'm not eating. No, you're not. When you ate 20 years of the donut diet and you have this phase of hamburgers and fast food, you are still feeding on the hamburger that you ate 10 years ago, and that's on your fat face, you know. So we have to sometimes in this society just step a little bit down from our high throne and see that we have these reserves to actually fast. Even like myself, I'm still at 15 or 20% of body fat at least, and I have to do my daily fasting to maybe sometimes get even more percent down. We don't want to become skeletons and lose muscles, particularly that is the other topic. We want to increase muscle at the same time and decrease fat, but we don't have to be eating all the time, and we don't have to worry so much probably about that aspect. Geeking out, we found out, and I'm proud to have been able to implement another supplement for you, to the supplement guru here in that conversation. We found the master amino acid pattern can be helpful to you, which is probably the most anabolic protein there is on the earth, on the planet Earth right now, due to a study that was done. I also send it to you. People, if they want to see the study, they can just comment or text us. We would send it to them, where the exact milligram of every of the 8 essential amino acids was detailed in the perfect relation. So even most of the natural foods that are highly anabolic, like eggs and red meat and fish and so on, they don't come close to the master amino acid pattern because they have one or another amino acid in a much higher relation than it should be than the other ones of the 8 essential amino acids. So when you ingest just 13 or 15 grams of this amino acid pattern, you would digest it in less than half an hour, and the body can make use 80-90%, probably even more, of all of the amino acids. So you have the growth effect very fast. It's light on digestion, it's low in calories, so it may interrupt fasting a little bit, the hormonal effects, but to a very minor, probably insignificant degree.
Yeah, I did some research about that. It's about how much calories you consume. And of course, that depends on which diet you are. but when you look at 1 gram of protein, 1 gram of protein has 4.2 calories. So if you just go with a normal portion, what they suggest, which are 5 gram, those are 20, a little bit over 20 calories. You won't break your fast. And I to be sure of it, because I might add like 1, 2, 3 grams of another amino acid to it, especially before I'm working out. But let's say I go to my workout after a long fast, let's say 16, 18 hours after working out, after fasting, I stand up in the morning and I go, first thing I do is to go to work out. And then I would have it intra-workout. So I'll just mix it into my water and drink it while I'm working out.
Yeah.
And when I finish my workout, I finish the protein. And for the body, for the muscles, it will be the same effect. And like this, you just make sure that you're not breaking your fast. And because I take usually around about 2-3 gram of L-taurine before the workout. So this is just another amino acid. If I wouldn't take the L-taurine, okay, I might be not as worried, but there's no perfect answer for everyone. So it really depends on the diet, on the length of fasting, on your metabolism. So you have to be flexible. You have to find your own answers, feel into your body, and then you find your personal answer.
Okay, in the whole sum, in the large perspective, I agree, but I disagree in the detail that you would sip it over the workout. Why? It's good that you hydrate during the workout, but you would want to have the 10 to 15 grams of the master amino acid pattern in a very small shot, like 50 milliliters, because if you sip it, you will not digest all of it, because just also of the large quantity of water. So, and you also need this amount of protein together to have this growth response, this anabolic response, to maybe take off of your worries due to the hormonal benefits of fasted training. I think you said it yourself indirectly. If you have already fasted 16 to 18 hours, and then you have this maybe 40 calorie shot before the training, meanwhile you digest it, and it's coming into your bloodstream, where it would maybe have some minor negative impacts on your hormonal benefits in fasted training. In that moment, when it's coming into the bloodstream, you are training and you are again expending calories. So you're saying yourself that it depends on the metabolic context. And when you are training and expending energy, your body uses calories differently than if you ingest calories in a parasympathetic relaxed state. So that's the same with glucose. If you consume honey in the evening when you're just lying on the sofa and watching TV, the body will use the honey to store more body fat. But if you use honey during the training and it elevates insulin levels, maybe even a little bit, but you are expending the energy, the body will not use these calories from the honey to store body fat. It will channel it into the muscles to restore glycogen. So, and then you will have almost no body fat stored there.
My worries are that I want to keep my insulin as low as possible,
and that
I only want to
was the next aspect
spike it after working out. You know, like talking about the honey, then I would have my portion of honey right after the workout.
Perfect. Exactly, and that's good. But
together with
about the insulin,
possibly more protein.
Yeah, and then the next or the last point that I would give to you as a detail in this context is that if you actually look into the details in the studies, the amount of insulin that is actually released by this 40 calories of proteins of amino acids, pardon me. If you drink, did you know that even drinking a glass of water will increase your insulin?
I don't know.
Yes. So if you drink a glass of water, or no, even a much better aspect, the training, the exercise itself will spike your insulin more than the 10 grams of amino acid pattern. So the training itself spikes your insulin. Drinking water spikes your insulin. We are talking about peanuts here. It would be different if you have like huge carbohydrates before the training. I would neither recommend this. If you will not have a 3-hour CrossFit workout, of course, then maybe you should have the carbs before. But if we do this very calculated, also metabolically calculated workout for half an hour, 1 hour, and you have this 40 calories before it, the insulin spike itself will not interrupt the fast, but meanwhile it happens while you train, the body will directly use it for growth response. So you actually multiply your gains, your benefit during the training. That is my opinion. You should experiment, try it before, afterwards. Maybe if you one point have the technical and financial means, level your blood level, measure your hormones. But from what I heard from the doctors that talk about this amino acid pattern and about insulin and growth response, they would say that it's, how you say, neglectable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, neglectable. So I mean, we can leave that open. It's not a problem if you go fasted and also have the amino acid pattern afterwards, or as a shot towards the end of the training. But at least I would recommend you to have a shot and to not have it in 1 liter or half a liter of water.
All right, I'll try it out.
Nice. Cold and heat pre versus post workout. That was a large topic. And if I'm correct, otherwise please correct me. We concluded that also there is not the one fits all solution, but that of course we wouldn't do cold exposure right post workout, close to post workout. We would rather prefer cold exposure maybe the day after, or the day after the day after, for recovery purposes, for regeneration purpose.
I mean, I can say how I do it,
Yeah.
to which conclusion we came. So people have a practical model. So workout day, regeneration day, skateboarding day. So actually workout day again.
Yeah.
Athletic day, I would say. So now with weight training, my purpose is to build muscle. Even if your purpose is to build strength, you shouldn't take a cold bath afterwards. You should rather have more inflammation in your body and not reduce the inflammation. So you rather take a hot bath, you rather take a hot shower. So, and now the major effects are in the 4 hours afterwards. So definitely in the 4 hours afterwards, you shouldn't have an ice bath. But if you're really particular about it and you just want to be sure you don't have an ice bath this whole day, you might have a short cold shower, but it won't be an immersing experience where you push through your barriers. So like it's hard to give you say, okay, to do showers for those degrees, because it's different for everyone else. It's how adapted we are. It's our genetics. It's the outside temperature. It's how we're immersing ourselves in the water. Ice bath, if we're moving or not. When we're moving, it's colder. It's like how much water is coming out of your shower, all those things. But anyways, what we can say, the conclusion you and me came to is to not do cold exposure on workout days. So now, next day is my regeneration.
Post-workout.
Yeah, not post-workout, exactly. But we can do it prior to workout to increase our body temperature. Because contradictory, but if you take a cold shower, your body your body cools down, and that's why your body has to heat up even more. More than neutral levels. So then you better warmed up for your workout, and you can actually take more pain, so you can perform better, move more weight. So now when we go to the next day, which is for me a regeneration day. So then I could have my ice bath, but I'm not having it because we still want more inflammation. We still want to maximize the anabolic process to gain more muscle mass. And then the next day, which is my athletic day, I do athletic skateboarding. It's not longboarding, it's in the park. And I have a lot of fast movements. So there, it's not about building muscle, because at the next day is my workout day again. So after that, I'll actually have my ice bath because I want to regenerate from this experience real quick. And if you have your training every other day or so, that's fine, because we can also have the cold exposure right in front of the workout. Like it may not only be a cold shower, can actually be an ice bath as well. And scientifically, if it's that cold that you have to push your limits, what we said, you can't fix any temperatures for a particular person. But if you have 11 minutes a week, that's enough to have all the positive benefits. So you could have 5.5 minutes if you have 2 workouts in the week, if you have your ice bath right before your workout. So
that's
when you
when fact, the 11 minutes.
When you can choose to not have it at the workout day, or have it at the day in between, and it's another day where you're working out anyways, I think it might not make such a big difference in how much you build muscle. But if you wouldn't have the cold bath in front of before your workout, and if you would have it at your rest day, I would rather have it in front of my workout, because then the workout will be better, and you can have a harder workout, so you will actually need more rest at your rest day. And the ice bath is a stress factor again. So this is how we have to think about the cold. And every stress, even if it's mental stress, that goes on your regeneration as well. Looking alone at your immune system. But even for the muscles, if you have mental stress, and the ice bath is not only the physical stress, also the mental stress, because before you think, like, if you're not used to it, oh, it's so cold, I'm not sure, and your adrenaline is rising, and you don't need that at your rest day. But it can be beneficial if you have it prior to your workout.
Perfect. Optimal. You did all the conclusion work for me. I could complement 2 or 3 points additionally to fulfill the picture even more. And that is that the hormonal growth response after a good weightlifting workout could even last up to 72 hours. Usually the protein synthesis, not talking about the aspect of the nervous system, but just the protein synthesis, will be completed approximately 36 hours post-workout. So in these, if we want to have optimal growth response, we wouldn't do any ice bath or extreme cold exposure, pushing our limits, 36 hours post-workout. But like you say also, after the 36 hours, why would we stress out ourselves on recovery days where we just want that our nervous system completely also regenerates, which usually takes longer, the nervous system.
And if we go back to the example, if I'm not building muscles and I'm not training every other day, or like I have really hard workouts, or I'm dieting, or I just like might need a day more regeneration. So then I would say I have my workout day, then I have my rest day. but the next day would be my skateboarding day. So this is like something interesting for people that perform in multiple disciplines. And I want to be performing best at weight training and best at skateboarding, even though it's a hard combination. But then when I have my skateboarding,
I wouldn't even say so, because long term with the muscle building, you will have less accidents, falling accidents, and if you have them, they will be less impactful, because if you like, when we fall down, when we have accidents, particularly in the older ages, when our grandparents fall at the age of 70 or 80 and then have to be in the bed for 1 or 2 weeks or even longer when they fractured a bone, if they would have enough skeletal muscles, the accident will be much less risky. So I think in the long term, you're complementing skating and muscle building very well. Maybe just for the perfect performance and athletic purposes in skating, it might be disadvantaged due to the fast and impulsive, explosive movements. I understand you there. But for your longevity, it's perfect.
That's true. And there I would have the reference to Neen Williams. He's a pro skateboarder, and he's the most jacked pro skateboarder out there.
I want to see him. What is his name?
He's a chef as well. Neen, Neen Williams.
Okay, nice. Thank you.
And to go back to conclude what I was going to say, then the 36 hours are over when I have my skateboard session. So then I can have the ice bath, and I can make use of it, not before the skating, but afterwards, after the skating. So I have a faster regeneration, because my workout day, my where I have my emphasis on bodybuilding, is the next day. But when I'm saying it's not a perfect combination in terms of, if you really look at bodybuilding, and bodybuilding is based on building the perfect physique. And I'm really lucky, because I used to be a goalkeeper for almost a decade. And when I got into lifting, I wasn't skateboarding around that time. So I did build my lower body. So now I can actually deal with doing less work for my lower body and maintaining my muscles, or just like building it slowly. It doesn't have to build as much as my upper body. So in my case, it's actually a really good combination. But with what you said, I absolutely agree. And I think a lot of pro skaters don't have enough emphasis on the workout part and how beneficial it can be for their skateboarding, not only in terms of what you said, protection, but also in terms of performance. And I see myself as an athlete. So if I might do squats and I don't have to maximize the muscle building, or like and I can focus more on strength, and which is helpful for skateboarding, then I would perform the exercise rather faster, especially when I go up the squat. Because then I train the fast twitch muscle fibers, and this is what I need with skateboarding every time when I perform a trick, or basically a jump.
That makes sense. Also, actually, the explosive concentric movement or in weightlifting will even help you to increase testosterone even more. So, but
exactly, concentric in lifting. So just everyone understands.
In lifting, but let's optimize the shit out of this. In your case, I wouldn't even do the ice bath right after skating, because if you have some micro inflammations due to skating, particularly maybe in the joints or in the tendons, you also would like to have these inflammations, at least for a few hours, to occur in order to heal. Well, I will be super egoistical on that point and just really stand firm on it, because I see that cold exposure spontaneously does not help to grow, does not help to recover, but what it helps is right pre performance, right pre-workout, it reduces our inflammation, and we don't want the inflammation right at the beginning or during the workout because we don't want to have the pain. So what we do if we do a cold exposure right before skateboarding or right before weightlifting is that we will have less pain during the workout. We vasoconstrict the veins. And as you said, the body will have to heat up by itself. It will activate how do they call it actually? Shock proteins. We should research that.
Heat shock proteins.
Heat shock proteins. Thank you very much. And the body starts to shiver, and this shivering heats up the body itself. So it's also in a sense a Aufwärmübung. It's a
warm-up exercise.
It's a warm-up exercise. And then we can just push really hard in the workout because we're not only limited we're not anymore limited by the pain so much. We are just still limited by our mind. And we will come later into this. In your case, you have defined amount of repetitions. I do not work like that. I work out. I try to get as much repetitions as possible in just one set. So it's particularly helpful for me because if I have low pain threshold, I can push much harder, much more repetitions, and then an increasing response. But anyways, we agree that the cold exposure would be hopefully 2 or 3 days after the workout. 2 days maybe. Yeah. Well,
if we go for the optimal in terms of building muscle and strength, we would agree to that. But if we don't want to be super strict and we actually want to be practical in life, don't do it at the workout day. At least not after the workout. Before the workout, right before the workout, perfect. But not after the workout. If it should happen after the workout, at least take those 4 hours.
Exactly. And then also for the practical purposes, especially for individuals who already have adapted much more to cold exposure, a cold shower wouldn't count, in my opinion, as an experience that is pushing. We can even have
that's for you. That's subjective. So everyone has to, everyone has to decide that for themselves. Yeah. And then it also depends where people are living. When I lived in Switzerland, close to the mountain, the water was cold as fuck. Mm-hmm. So, and this was, at that point, I was trained in doing ice bath and even immersing myself in the ice bath, not lying still, but even moving. But the showers, like, they were freezing, but I loved it. Like it's a luxury to actually have a cold shower like this. If you're in tropical countries, you miss the cold water. You just don't get it out of the shower.
Yeah, I'm lucky because I have the glacier water running down in the water ravine next to my house. But how do you actually do the ice bath? Do you have
the bathtub?
In the bathtub.
With ice.
Okay. Yeah. You would buy it from the gas station.
I put it in my freezer.
Okay. Yeah.
If I have a big enough freezer, I just have to have a pot and freeze the water there. Actually, here an energy saving tip. Yeah. If you in terms of the density, if the water is warm, it will freeze faster. That effectively will save energy.
Nice detail. Okay. I need to know that for Germany for my bathtub in January. Would you like to elaborate a little bit about your experience regarding static stretching and dynamic stretching, also pre versus post workout?
Okay. So what I do prior to workout is mobilization of the joints,
which is not flexibility.
Yeah. And I'm warming up. I'm increasing my body temperature. So this comes with movement, and it can come with methods like the ice bath or with nutrition. for prior to working out, I have around about a quarter or half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper.
Mm-hmm.
And the stretching, and there we had our discussion. So now I do my stretching routine usually 5 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week. 5 days is the minimum. And I do static stretching because it's supposed to be more beneficial. You will evolve faster in your flexibility. And this is our goal. And it's more safe, especially if you're unexperienced. And it doesn't have to be intense. It has to be, only has to be doesn't have to be at the pain threshold. It can be actually below, and it will still feel comfortable. So it's not putting more stress on your body, it's actually releasing stress. And if you have tensions, it's releasing those tensions. So that I do separate of my workout, or I might do it after the workout. And after the workout, and there you're similar to me, we go by intuition, we go by feeling. Some muscles I might stretch statically, some I might stretch dynamically. And it also depends on this particular day, how much energy I have in my tank still, how intense I want to go with the stretching. But there, I don't have a fixed protocol, at least not for the moment. I just go by feeling. My fixed protocol is when I do my daily stretching. This is 2-3 sets for each muscle group, holding around about 30 to 60 seconds. Static stretch.
The 2 to 3 sets are new to me. I remembered to listen to Professor Huberman that we would do just one set for 30 seconds, but I might have not paid enough attention there.
Yeah, it's not all from what I've learned from Huberman. In general, if you do the stretching before the workout, like people fight over that, and then it also depends on a discipline. So it might be different in weightlifting to running, but in my experience, there's actually no difference, because I've been a really active runner as well, but you just can't do all at the same time. I've been a really active climber as well. So now when we look at running, I would say it's the same. You don't want to stretch before working out. Doesn't matter if it's static or dynamic. But if you look at climbing, and there you hang down and you might get stretched all of a sudden, or you have like both of your hands here and like this hand, and your fingers might like slip off, and now you have all the tension on the latissimus on the right side. And there I would actually stretch my latissimus dynamically before working out. Even though I will have less stress, I feel warmed up better, especially in this region. Of course, you can also achieve the result with exercise, that you just exercise your back muscles right before you start your workout or your climbing session. But for me, at least, it was beneficial for my feeling, for my head, to do at least some dynamic stretching right before the climbing session, even though scientifically I would have less strength, because this was something of a hobby of mine.
Depending on how you do the dynamic stretching, I guess it makes sense, because it's also very extreme borderline situation. Well, in the end, it just depends on if you effectively increase the distance between the neuronal cells and the muscle cells, because the larger the distance between these two cell types, the less communication they can have. And you want them to communicate effectively for strength and for reaction purposes. But if you do the dynamic stretching correctly and not too long, not too extremely, I don't think that you will actually increase the intracellular distance, and they will still be close enough to be effectively reacting during the climbing session. Probably that's even better that you did it before.
Yeah. it's an edge walk. So
You mean
it's into
walk
yeah,
on
like
the razor blade?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I would say a lot of people, when they focus on scientific methods, they forget about their intuition. And you can only train your intuition
Yeah.
if you
Some people will hate
keep
us for saying
trusting
this,
it.
but I completely agree with you, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, like, we just take the tools from everywhere, you know, like we're not like this gym pro lifter guys. We just take everything from this world, but
Mhm.
then we might take everything from the, let's call it the exact opposite, the yogi world. And then
Mhm.
we combine them just
Mhm.
for the best results without judgment. We're
Yeah.
just picking.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, I mean that's pioneering work. And I mean it's yeah, it's not even fitness. It is a spiritual experience, definitely. Yeah, with all the dogma and also all the possibilities that we could be wrong, right? Constant process of change happening.
That might be true, but we'll always be wrong about something. And
Ah,
there is actually where beauty lies. Because if you're an expert, if you're a master, you can't improve anymore. And
no,
the where the joy lies is the process.
yeah, mastery is right that. Mastery is accepting that you never stop learning. And so, yeah, there is like this caprice that I have, this super esoteric topic that I actually would like to use as a bridge to light therapy, red light therapy.
Okay,
Also,
let me throw something in real quick.
yeah, yeah,
We
go
don't
for
we not only have this brain,
yeah.
we have the intuition as well, usually in our stomach,
I
and
was about to
we
say
have
that
another
I would
brain
locate
in
it there.
our digestive tract.
Exactly.
So there, it's
And the
the
heart
intuition.
brain, which is also full of nervous cells, neuronal cells.
Exactly, to add that. But
Mm.
just like for the terms of what we're talking about, we're not talking about relationships. We're
Mhm.
talking about fitness and nutrition, and
Mhm.
they're actually to learn to listen to your body. And it's what you learn from getting better at fitness and nutrition. It's so many things that are relatable onto other areas of life,
Mhm.
because it's like your brain is working. Your brain can't differentiate. Okay, this is like this is a social situation now. This is a sports situation.
Mhm.
Both might cause stress, and at both situations we have to handle the stress. So, and then to make decisions under stress, but still to rely on to your intuition. And this is actually a really helpful skill. And especially in the Western world, I think a lot of people lack into it. This is what I learned when I lived in Eastern countries. For example, when I lived in Thailand and when I got to learn about Buddhism.
Mhm. Yes. Yeah, yeah. I hadn't had this privilege over there, but I got the in Europe we would say the shamanic experience. We don't use the word shaman here in South America, but even this is just another phase of yogic science, because apparently one of the disciples of the first yogi, Shiva, according to the history, he had 7 disciples. One of them migrated from the Himalaya over the Pacific Ocean um, to South America, and then probably yeah, well, coming into Central America or maybe even into South America, and then migrating upwards. Also the genetic pathway of the following generations. This is why here in South America, all the mystical and shamanic traditions actually are yogic traditions, although you wouldn't call them like that culturally. It's another phase of yoga. So the master plants that they use here, one that some people call ayahuasca, that we call here yahe, the San Pedro and the peyote, more from the desert regions. But also just not even the plants, the drugs, but the lifestyle here. And in that case, the intuition is even a memory, but it is a very subconscious memory of a vast amount of experiences from the past, hundreds, some detailed, some even just maybe about the smell or the sound of something. And if you can really zoom out of your stressful sympathetic nervous state and be in that relaxed and calm state where you just observe not only what is happening outside but also inside yourself, you can make sense of all these past memories and experiences, and they have the answer to the spontaneous solution in front of problem in front of you. Yeah, but it's not, you have to be very relaxed. So this is why we practice all of these different kind also of breath works, adapting to circadian signals like the sun and so on.
Just to throw in,
go
if
for it.
your brain doesn't have enough oxygen, if you're stressed and you're not breathing properly, how can you expect to functioning properly?
Well, just to trigger you a little bit, the esoteric tale that inspires me a lot actually is if we take the myths about the ancient yogis literally, they are often painted with the color blue. You remember? So also Krishna and so on, they are painted as blue people. And there are the tales about the breatharians, but then there are even tales, but less tales, about people who even overcome the material realm of the breath. So in the end, cosmically or spiritually looking at this, it would be like the whole universe is a matrix that attracts us or incentivizes us to incarnate into it and believe into its material system, to believe that the matrix here, everything that we touch, even the invisible molecules as air, would be something true. But in the end, we all imagine this universe from our spirit. And in that sense, you wouldn't even have to breathe. You can be in complete singular meditation where you just completely not even leave the body, but dematerialize the whole universe and exist in a state of nothing and everything at the same time. And then, like, your body becomes blue because you are in oxygen death, but you don't need the oxygen because you don't believe in this whole universe anymore. But you can anytime come back and believe in this again. That's not a problem. So this is very,
Is
very
this correlated to releasing DMT in your body?
Definitely so. And there is also this interesting parallel to the sun, because actually if you could look at the sun without the atmospheric filter, the color of it is blue. You have a fusion have a fusion reactor inside.
It's blue wavelengths.
Blue wavelength. So we, especially as men, actually they say Father Sun and Mother Earth. So through all these ascetic disciplines, going to the edge, we can become a fusion reactor in and of ourselves, and this is then also a light that we start to radiate. But maybe this is a topic that we can come back to in 30 years when we have reached other
it's
levels.
also getting deep.
Yeah.
So about this topic, we could do a whole nother 3-hour podcast,
Just to
and it
also
wouldn't be
see
enough.
the possibilities that we have. But could you maybe bring us down back to earth and share about red light therapy, also which tools you use, how you apply?
All right. Red light therapy. How do I use it? So first of all, it's beneficial for eye health, and that can be achieved with one session just for 3 minutes once a week. So now I use it more as an athletic and performance tool for healing. Whenever I have injuries, which occur often at skateboarding, even when working out, doing any kind of sport, and I strained a muscle, I'll put the red light onto the muscle. You have to differentiate between red light and near infrared light. The near infrared light you can't see. There are animals out there which can see like this. We as humans can't see it. So now and there you are more knowledgeable than I am is about the sun and the red light there. So when the sun rises, when the sun goes down, talking about the light spectrum. When the sun is up, and you talked about the wavelengths being blue, there at sunset and sunrise, it's red wavelengths mixed with the blue ones. So I use it when I wake up, when it's still dark. I actually mix the red light with the white light. So because literature says you should have your stress impulse from the light in the first 30 minutes after waking up. So I have a daylight lamp and I have a red light lamp. So when I'm at the kitchen just preparing my breakfast, I have both on. Once the sun comes up, I'll actually later stare into the sun. So there I have the red and the blue light
grounded onto the earth without any in between.
There have the red and the blue light again, but especially using red light just as a tool for healing. Like this tattoo, I just got 1 month ago. So now every morning while I had my breakfast, I was just having my breakfast here. Like I'm a right-hander, but I focus more on eating with my left hand. Had the red light standing here, so my whole arm was right in front of the red light. So now actually it had to be redone because the color faded here at the fingers, which is usual. So now once again, I have my arm right in front of the red light. So, and now it's a tattoo, but at another moment it might be skateboarding session. At another moment it might be that your shoes were too tight and you have pain at the heel. It's the idea that our skin is actually absorbing the light and it's going into our body till the organs and into the cells.
Which device do you use for it? How is it called?
I just ordered a random device secondhand from the internet. Like it's a startup company. It's a really nice device. I got it for a good price. For me, it has a good size. When usual, the common brands are more expensive, so I didn't bother to go for them. There's one really known brand. Maybe you know the name?
Yeah, because I'm not very educated
If people will Google red light, they will come across this provider. And yeah, it's less about being. You can also go with a cheapo Amazon lamp that doesn't have near infrared light, which is better. You shouldn't just like look into it straight because it can be harmful for your eyes.
Really know.
But if you can just order a simple red light lamp on Amazon for $10.
But you would say that scientifically, there is more benefit to also having included near red light.
Yeah,
Or
near red light,
infrared, you would say.
near infrared light. That's how you call it. And
Near,
it's generating more heat than the red light
yeah.
itself, and it's also more intense. It goes deeper into the body.
Because I'm not very well aware of the research actually, and I have little time invested into really looking into the technology. This is an area where I'm just much more intuitive. I just know that I love, that I enjoy watching sunrises and sunsets. I try to get as much sun as possible during the day also. I'm really punk regarding sunburns. I don't believe that there is a problem with having sunburns. This is just a reflection of toxins that I previously consumed and that then inflammate inside the skin, but it's not the fault of the sun. I just know that I feel amazing the more sun I have, and I'm not aware of a lot of scientific research about it. This is why
elaborate on the topic of sunburn.
Yeah, this is why I honestly ask you about the more technical devices and applications. I mean, well, regarding the sunburns, this is what is happening today. I don't even know what to say. It's just so ridiculous. If you see that they're now starting to make available sun cream protection dispensers at schools for free. You know, so they would say the sun is toxic, it causes cancer, but then they massage themselves with chemical toxic creams full of heavy metals. This is, I mean, it's beyond ridiculous. So
I mean, this is how the world functions.
yeah,
but you can actually have natural sunscreens, and I use them. I think they're really beneficial. For example, when I go surfing and I have really thick zinc creams, definitely I wouldn't do it without, if I wouldn't have a full-on shorty, like even with the headpiece.
Would you say that you also absorb the zinc through your skin and then have some extra boost for your testosterone?
Of course, the skin is an organ, and zinc has immunal properties as well. I take around about 50 milligrams of zinc as supplementation prior to going to bed. So definitely, so it's the same what I talked about with the red light. The skin is absorbing the light. Everything you put on your skin, your skin is absorbing it.
Exactly. So this is the first time that I hear someone talking about sunscreen that I take serious. I will not right away buy a zinc sunscreen, but if I stumble over it one day, or someone has it close to me, and maybe I will smell it and try it.
I'll send you a podcast.
Yeah, you can do that. Interesting. What I maybe would do, like for skin applications post sun exposure, if I do have a burn that hurts me actually. So yeah, sometimes we have extreme days and I lie down in bed and the whole back hurts because it's just red. I would just cut some aloe vera.
I do that too.
We say sabila. I have it growing here and I apply it fresh onto the skin, and that really helps to cool it down, to reduce inflammation. But I also see it just as a good aesthetic practice. To not usually I would not get enough sun, but I like to work outside at midday. I put a small roof above my laptop so that I can still see the light from the laptop, but I myself am completely exposed to the sun. The only fact I think that I need to mention is that today the largest cause of death globally will be heart disease, cardiovascular problems. And just by getting direct sunlight onto your whole body, onto your whole skin for half an hour, you will, according to, depending on the study that you read, according to the numbers that you read, you will reduce your risk of cardiovascular incidents by 80%. So if people would get some sunlight today at midday, 80% of the major cause of death today would not happen. So of course, there are industries that are interested to keep us sick, to not keep us high on a high testosterone level, especially the men.
On a low testosterone level.
Yeah, they're interested in keeping us on the lowest possible testosterone level. So yeah, I love the sun, and I know also, just for example, for productive reasons, I love to sleep here. Actually, I have an open wall in my house, right between my bed and the sunrise. So in the morning at 5, even before the sun rises, I already wake up because I have the natural gradual sunlight increasing every minute. So I don't need the alarm. Just at 5:30 or 6, when the sunlight hits my face right in my bed directly without any window between us, I'm awake and I'm not tired, and it's my natural alarm, and that's as
it's your natural cycle.
Circadian rhythm. And according to Darwin, the theory of evolution, we have adapted to this for thousands of years. So of course it would be nice to have more scientific proof for this, but if one needs this, you can just go to Huberman. He's the expert on light and so on. I have no study to recall on this.
That's why I'm working with those lights, especially now we as entrepreneurs working the whole time. Of course, it makes most sense to set up your life that you have your sun every morning, that you can watch the sunset every evening. But then it's not always practical, but I think you should implement that in your life. But then also it's the weather. Both of us are from Germany. In the spring, in the summer, maybe in the autumn, you might be fine, but in the winter, that's where you need those tools. You won't see the sun at all. So then this is how you simulate the red light and the blue light. And then at night, when I don't want to have the blue light, when it's actually dark, this is where my blue light blocking glasses.
Yeah, okay, me too. Well, it makes sense. If I would live in such climate long term, I would also implement such regimens. It makes sense. I still don't get actually why you do the blue light or the white light in the morning, because the sun, like physically, geographically, the distance between you and the sun in the morning and in the evening is much longer than at midday. So the distance in the morning and the evening is not only straight up the atmosphere, but also the whole distance horizontally in the morning. So this is why the whole atmosphere and all the molecules that are in the air filter out the blue light more. This is why the sunrise and the sunset is more red light. It tends more towards the red light spectrum. And at midday, the distance it's shorter between you and the sun. So the atmosphere has not so much chance to filter out the blue light. And this is also why we have more blue light at midday. But can you elaborate or explain to me why you would also use white or blue light in the morning?
Because when I wake up, it's still dark. And I want to adapt my biocycle to the light, scientifically saying it should happen in the first 30 minutes, but it won't be bright, or it's not starting to get bright in the first 30 minutes. I mean, it depends on the time of the year, depends where I am.
So as you wake up earlier, and you should have the stimulus in the first half hour, you just create it by yourself, just to make sure to get the optimal results.
Exactly, but then when the sun comes up, it has it's way brighter, even if it doesn't feel like it. If you have a really bright light and you look at it, and then you compare it to the sun it might be an overcast day, but it's actually still way brighter. So you will have to look into the sun without the window. directly because the window then is blocking it again. And that you have to do for a certain amount of time. And there people can check the Huberman video. He explains it really well. He has all the studies. So not to go into too big of a detail, but I would say if you look 5 to 10 minutes into the sun every day, it will be highly beneficial for you. Everything will be better, especially your sleep then will be way better. If you look at the sun in the morning and you spend the whole day just normally, at the end of the day, your sleep will be way better.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, perfect. No, I'm on the same paper. I wouldn't look directly into the sun for 5 to 10 minutes, but if there is direct sunlight at sunrise or sunset, I would do 2 minutes, bare feet grounded onto the earth. Regarding also the antioxidants that are flowing into your body, fresh electrons from the earth.
Because if it's really bright, it says like 3 to 5 minutes. But in general, you should listen to your body, once again, to your intuition. If you're blinking, then don't look right into the sun. Like just look a little down. So you have the sun is coming indirectly into your eyes.
Perfect. Nice. Yeah. There we go. I would actually like to go into your animal proteins before we go to the supplements, because dogmatically, from my point of view, we should first have settled and agreed on these macronutrients first of all, and then go into detail, and then make room for your small workshop and supplements. I'm very curious on this. You agree?
All right. Yeah, I agree. So should I start with my macronutrients? So like my protein, carbs, fats.
I would like to share the screen in a moment and show you a calculation that I did based on your statistics. But I would like to know beforehand how much animal protein you consume on a daily basis. You probably have calculated this, right?
I don't. It depends on how much calories I need at the moment. If I'm building muscle, if I'm cutting down, but and then if I'm on a ketogenic diet, or if I'm ketogenic, I'm high protein and high on fat, but really low on carbs. Or if I'm not on a ketogenic diet, because 20% of the time, like every couple of months or so, I cycle off for around about 3 weeks, and then I actually adapt the fats from high to medium, and my carbs go from low to medium, just to fill up my glycogen reserves in a muscle again. And also for long-term sustainability, I still like, I'm fat adapted when I'm on a ketogenic diet, but I still want to stay carbohydrate, sugar adapted.
Yeah. Okay, nice.
So in general,
that's okay.
It's always high protein. Even if I have a higher energy expenditure, I rather add more protein because also more fulfilling, and in itself, I can eat more when I consume more protein, because protein is generating the most heat. So eating protein in itself burns calories.
Definitely, yeah. The excess carbohydrates will be stored in the liver or as fat, but excess proteins will actually either just be peed out, also stored in your liver, but not stored as fat, very little, but rather the body will just sweat more or have higher body temperature. And by having higher body temperature, you will also just burn more calories again. So then there are the myths about the kidney stones and stuff. I don't buy into that. I had most problems with my kidneys on a vegan diet. That is probably the largest thing that I regret in my life. But maybe let's not talk so much about the carbs today. I think you got that well figured out, and you know when to consume them and when not. And just to add to your intuitive management of protein, an exemplary calculation, how I recommend to consume proteins, animal proteins. We're talking just about animal proteins. for me, vegetable proteins, I don't consider them, and I don't even consider them proteins in general. For me, the bioavailability of them is just too low, too bad, and too much stress on my digestive system, at least. Maybe someone else is different there.
Of course, you can combine them. So they usually, you have the 3 categories. I've been vegan for a few years as well. And it was working. I could perform, I could build muscle, I could cut down. Everything was working the same, but I'm not good at digesting legumes. So alone genetically, it's my predisposition. I'm not good at that. So, and but I'm really well, actually, almost everyone is at digesting meat. And there you also don't have to combine the foods. But back to the 3 categories. Let's say you have the one category, which is rice, for example. This has, or bread, the grain category. They have some amino acids. Then you have the legume category. Peanuts is actually a legume as well, that have some amino acids. And then you have the nut category. So and the seeds. So you will have to consume them in a window of 6 hours to actually get your full amino profile. So if you're vegan, this is essential.
Exactly. Okay, so for the vegans, this will be boring. You can skip the next 20 minutes, 10 minutes. I will make a reflection for you now. How I would recommend based on your statistics. I also calculated the same thing for me. I don't supervise it anymore, but I did it for 3 months just to get also the feeling, the sense of how it should be, how it should feel, how I should feel saturated and so on. So according to the 6th of November, I calculated the 55 kilogram, could be also 70. It would vary slightly a little bit. And is that correct? Are you 178 centimeters tall, approximately?
Yep.
Okay. 9% body fat. I use that as a detail, and 91% lean body mass. So that makes 68.25 kilograms. And then there is a statistic that looks at recommended protein intake according to age group and according to if you're on calorie reduction or on calorie surplus. I actually used, in that case, the calorie reduction. I always use the calorie reduction because on the caloric reduction, you should actually consume more protein because the body is more sensible to lose muscle mass on caloric reduction. But as we also want to build muscle, that will increase high amounts of protein. So that makes approximately 2.2 grams of protein, not of meat, but of the protein in meat, up to 2.5 grams of kilogram lean body mass. And then just to make very sure, because there are also other numbers, I use 2.5 grams of kilogram per body mass, or this amount for lean body mass. That results that on a normal day, you should consume 163.8 grams of animal protein. And on bad days, when you're not hungry, when you're stressed and don't have so much time to eat, you should still at least have your 150 grams, And as more protein for our goals, for our purpose, is still more, I would even say you can shoot up for much more. If you consume more, there is no problem at all. And then I used your diet and your timing approximately for an example day, example 1, where you consume in total on one day 290 grams of protein. You could try that if you are keen.
And I do that.
You do that, yeah. So you have, for example, here the master amino acid pattern in the morning, which equals a 200-gram steak, 50 grams of protein, like with 40 calories. And then post-workout, the 600 grams of chicken, for example. I think you told me 500 to 700 grams you consume usually, or 600 to 800 grams.
Yeah, around about that.
Plus bacon and cheese. So you're very well sorted out. You have your major
protein. To mention raw milk cheese.
Oh, it is
unpasteurized milk.
Where do you get it in Germany?
You can get it everywhere. You can even get it at the discounters and organic quality.
Oh yeah, I do remember. Actually, that's right. Yeah, and it's even easier to digest than the fermented.
A lot of Swiss cheeses are traditionally raw milk cheeses.
Nice.
And they don't even make the differentiation between organic and non-organic, because the way the cows live there, usually they're grass-fed, they live outside, they live in good conditions, clean air, with the food. Okay, this might be a point where one might fight over, because they could make the differentiation between I want to have organic raw milk cheese or just raw milk cheese. But some traditional brands like Appenzeller, they don't make this differentiation, and they're known for having the highest quality. So, and those are cheeses you can get internationally everywhere.
Yeah, even here in
Cologne. You just might pay the price for it, but you will get them at the right market.
And then you even have 60 gram more proteins in the evening when you consume wild game, wild salmon, whatever. So I don't even think that we need to get into more detail. It's just to create more awareness and to remember that we are not ice cubes. We shouldn't buy into the calorie in, calorie out theory. Different macronutrients have different effects on the metabolism. And even if we would consume thousands of calories just by eating pure red meat, we will not store the fat of all of these calories, because just of the way that our metabolism works. We're not ice cubes. We are very, very complex human beings with temperature input, output, with the digestion, the energy that is invested, the brain that consumes all of these ketones or glucose, so and our muscle mass, and then also just the saturation aspect, the aspect of also that's getting into too much detail. I think
the satiety,
yeah,
that's the word. So difficult for us Germans. How full you feel. Protein is just making you more full. If you want to lose a lot of weight, simple, just eat a lot of protein. On top of the thermal effect of protein that's actually heating and in itself burning more calories in comparison to fat or carbohydrates.
Yeah, I think topic done. Just don't feel bad about your proteins, that you might harm your kidneys.
Actually,
until you're full also.
Actually, for longevity, 1 point, muscle mass and strength, especially muscle mass. And the second point, and I'm not saying it's less important, because those two are combined. If you want to sustain a high muscle mass, you need your protein. So to sustain less, but especially to build, you need a lot. And okay, there might be a major discussion, but what I can say for sure for longevity, this is a topic I'm really immersed in. It's actually when people say, what's the best tool for longevity? They talk about fasting and all those things, about supplements, and I do those things. But high protein is actually the best tool.
Let's give us, please give us the workshop on the supplements. I was into the topic. I'm really out of it. and I'm open to reflect upon it again, to listen
All
attentively.
right. Okay, then pull up the list.
Oh yeah.
And you just read me the list, and I tell you something to every supplement.
Let's start with your supplements in the morning.
Okay.
And did you send them to me consecutively in order?
No, I didn't. So
Okay.
I would say you go supplement for supplement, and then I can say when I'm taking them.
And let me also be critical, so you have to convince me. For example, first point, B complex. I find it unnecessarily if I consume enough red meat.
Okay, B complex, I just take in order to be sure, because it's my lifestyle. I'm traveling a lot, might switch hotels. It might not be optimal every day, and it's a whole spectrum of B vitamins,
Yeah.
and it's cheap. If I have too much, I'll pee it out anyways.
I was
So
about to say that.
we don't have to go into detail about B vitamins. Next one.
Okay, bore.
Okay, bore. So of course you have that in your nutrition, but most of people don't have enough. And then you have to, with every supplement, you have to see, okay, do I have enough through my nutrition already? If you have enough, okay, fine.
Yeah.
But I want to perform at optimal testosterone levels.
Okay.
And it's the same. It's not a harmful substance if I have too much.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I'll just
okay.
pee it out again. And with
Fine,
bore, it says you should have enough to have your testosterone functioning at the optimal or the highest level. Both of us, we aim for the highest testosterone level. And this is why I'm taking 6 milligram of bore.
Okay. Well, I would revise or reflect upon the topic that not everyone has the time, maybe not even the mindset to consume 1.5 kilograms of red meat per day. I do that. I know many athletes and people who do that, and they will not have any problem with it. But I also understand that if one, for example, is traveling, maybe has special stressful outputs, maybe cannot consume this 1.5 kilograms of red meat per day, it makes sense. Yeah.
Alone financially, I wouldn't aim for that much meat if I wouldn't have the best quality. If I wouldn't have organic, and I would know for sure it's actually organic, because sometimes discounters sell meat as organic, even though it is not organic. Like, this industry is really corrupt.
Okay.
Then I wouldn't go for those high amounts of protein. So, because then, like, I would have all the antibiotics in the meat, just to name one thing.
But let me then criticize that you also could just reinvest what you spend on the supplements for high quality meat. Like, that would be the last point where I save money. And even then, even the supplement industry is very corrupt. So you often don't know what's really inside them.
To say, like, where I don't limit myself at all is nutrition.
Yeah.
So most of my money goes into nutrition.
Yeah.
Most of the money I spend goes into nutrition.
Regarding the next one, for example, I also myself just came from 2 years of a mega dosing of omega-3 oils. For 2 years I did it. I didn't even measure it at some point. It was just like I had the bottle and I was almost drinking it, like at least 50 milliliters, 100 milliliters, you know. That was the most expensive supplementing that I probably did.
Yeah, it's one of the most expensive one I take too.
Was fish
to
oil.
just throw in, it's about the EPA into DHA content. So, and then it's if it's coming from fish, or where it's coming from originally, the algae, because the fish, they just eat the algae. So you have to check those amounts to find the right dosage for you. And but I had different products, and one product I could take the half, and I would get the same amount of EPAs and DHAs.
Okay. Yeah.
But I spent around about €1, around about $1 a day just on omega-3.
Yeah.
And to the suggested amount is probably 1 milliliter. I take 10 milliliters, and the suggested amount is way too little. And we want a sufficient enough amount to have it be able to get into the brain, because I see it not only as a health supplement, I see it as a nootropic in terms of biohacking, performing mentally at your highest possible, with your highest possible clarity and energy.
I admit
But
that.
at the other hand, it's also the most beneficial in healing inflammation.
Okay.
So we are constantly inflamed with our lifestyle and our workouts, the stress. Alone, if you look at cities, there's so much constant stress going on. So this is why it's still one of the number one most suggested supplements in terms of general health, because it has so many good impacts. And to get to the amounts that can be the most beneficial, one would need to eat a lot of fat fish to achieve it.
I agree.
And talking about chia seeds
the
and
free
so on,
radical potential,
like it almost have,
especially in urban areas. When I started the mega dosing on my own body, I felt the positive effects. I admit that. My digestion improved, my eye vision improved a lot. I could see even much better than I ever had before. However, even though I even sell it, I market Zinzino fish oil supplements and even algae oil supplements, which are probably one of the most expensive products in the sector, in the industry. But now, after 2 years, my next experiment that started 1 month ago is to go for 2 years just on a pure carnivore diet, supplemented maybe with fruit and honey, without any added fats. And I just want to see on myself how I will feel in 2 years. And if I would still say in 2 years, I will get back to it, or I don't feel that I need it. Because now I have set up my lifestyle so that the urban stress factors that might cause free radicals are minimal here in the jungle, here in the Sierra Nevada of Santa Marta in the Colombian Caribbean. And also my diet does not include any 6 or omega-9s. So in that case,
this is an important point, because the more omega-6 and omega-9s you consume, which are in highly produced foods, for example, chips, they're like really rich then. But even if you look at things like chia seeds, which are supposed to be really healthy, and I eat them every day. Talking about the book about the runner from the backcountry in Mexico, the best long distance runners in the world, they consume a lot of chia seeds. But then still, they have omega-3s as well, but they have more omega-6 and 9s. So it's about, you have to balance them out. The more you eat of the 6 and 9s, the more omega-3 you need.
Okay, well, vitamin D. Yeah, if you don't get enough sunlight on a daily basis with your full body, right on the skin, you should consume high dosages of vitamin D. Vitamin D3.
Yeah. And not the face, not only the face, that's not enough.
Yeah, the whole body.
If I'm in colder climates, I even go to the sunbed like 2 times a week or so. I actually do that right after my workout to increase the inflammation even.
Okay, yeah, good.
to rewind back on the topic we were speaking about earlier, to have the maximum increase in muscle mass and muscle strength. But if I get enough sun, I only take around 1,000 micro units with my magnesium because they support each other.
That's correct.
If it's a late summer day and I still have a lot of sun in the evening, then I will skip the vitamin D completely.
I would like to make a general comment on most minerals, actually, not only magnesium, but also potassium, particularly also vitamin C and many more. There are many of these vitamins and minerals who are more used by the body, the more carbs we consume. So that means also when you consume less carbs, or if you even make the discipline act to completely keto adapt over 4 weeks, you would not even almost need to consume no amount of these minerals. So on the carnivore diet on which I am, I completely stopped to use these supplements, also magnesium. I don't worry about my potassium because my body, first of all, is much better in recycling it, and not even needing it inside the cells.
I'm using it. I use them as a tool, and especially the timing is really important. Just what I said with the vitamin D. So with the magnesium, my highest portion, I will take around about 3 hours.
Yeah.
I will take round about 3 hours prior to sleep, but I still take some magnesium right after my workout because I'll be sweating. So I just fill up on that magnesium again. So we're talking about biohacking here. We're talking about optimal performance. We're not talking about living as natural as possible because it's not natural. So it's philosophically speaking, the transitioning into transhumanism.
Yeah, no, I agree that living the most natural lifestyle is not necessarily the most healthy lifestyle or the best lifestyle for longevity. But indirectly, the more natural I have gone, still maintaining some artificial practices, the better I have gotten in general. And what was it about? I think I lost the point there.
You were talking about minerals that most of them we don't need, and you also said when we need.
Yeah, but my experience, what contradicts yours is in the times when I consumed magnesium, I had the most cramps. But
then it also depends which form of magnesium you consume.
Yeah, probably. But it's even geographically related. I do indeed experience cramps when I'm in Germany, interestingly. And when I'm here, I never have cramps. There is also an important relation between electromagnetic frequencies, also known as EMFs, regarding to magnesium, because the more we are exposed to EMFs, the more magnesium the body uses to counteract, because the EMFs directly act on calcium in the metabolism, on the calcium pathways. So, and calcium and magnesium are also antagonists, or they are necessary in a molecular balance of two calcium to one magnesium. So this also, and again, we can conclude it's an individual aspect. I don't consume it. I'm better off here without magnesium. But probably in Germany, again, I will use some magnesium in the afternoon. Yeah. I guess it's fine. Prior to workout could also be. Yeah, it has a relaxing effect on you, right?
Post-workout.
Yeah, post-workout. Yeah. The trans-resveratrol, I don't know what is NMN. You can maybe explain to me. But the effect that trans-resveratrol has as an antioxidant is the same effect that monounsaturated fats have.
Mm-hmm. For example, macadamia nuts, they're really high in them.
For example, yeah, but also most animal products have a good amount. What is NMN?
Nucleotide mono something.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I just know it at the short form NNM. It's a nootropic. I use it in short. I just want to have as much energy as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And the body has its natural stores of NMN, but they will get depleted easy, especially with mental work. So if you consume more exogenous from the outside, and your body can produce it itself, but especially if you have extreme working days or you have to be laser focused, then it will be beneficial because you'll be able to get energy from there. So you not only get energy through food, you not only get energy through press, you get energy through different functions and different storages in your body.
Yeah. In the end, it's all about ATP, adenosine triphosphate, but the body has so many ways to produce it. That I understand what you say. I mean, we are also masters of surviving, of adaptation, but we come back to, we don't only want to adapt, we want to live as long as possible. And that's again on the razor blade between adaptation and longevity, because if you can adapt to a shitty diet, but it's not optimal. Yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned resveratrol and NMN, so they work synergistically. So, or antagonists, you could say, synergistically, meaning you should take them together. And when you say magnesium to calcium is 1 to 2, it's the same with resveratrol to NMN.
I see.
So with a lot of supplements, it's beneficial to take them together.
Yeah. Dr. David Sinclair is huge on resveratrol, right?
Yeah, it's known as an anti-aging substance, but it doesn't hold up for its anti-aging properties. Talking about anti-aging, really interesting is rapamycin. And now we have to differentiate women and men. Women get older in general, around about 5 to 10%. So now the question is why? Why do they get older? And then there are also a lot of supplements, life extending supplements, which work only on males and not on females. Because those life extending supplements, they actually have influence on the estrogen organism. So actually estrogen is is combined with longevity. So this is the reason, because women have higher estrogen than men, and really important, women have testosterone as well, and the same functions that it has for men, the same functions it has for women. A lot of people don't know about that, but rapamycin is working on those receptors, and it's a non-feminizing estrogen. Not feminizing, meaning it doesn't work antagonistically against testosterone.
Interesting.
But you can still get the properties from it, and even more properties than the natural estrogen, because it was tested on mice. Now it's not always relatable. How it's mice is the same with human, but this is actually the one supplement that I'm taking exceptionally for longevity, because it is actually supposed to lengthen the lifespan for around about 20%. That's crazy. And this is one that is actually tested and proved. The other ones, metformin, which you might take if you consume a lot of carbs and you want to avoid the blood sugar spikes. But I'm not. I'm on keto, so I don't have that anyway. So I don't have to take care of that. But still, at the same time, I'm taking berberine, which has the same effects than the metformin. So even if I then have, and I take it all the time, and then if I would take it around, or especially before a carb meal or high carb meal, especially if it's short chained carbohydrates, so sugars in comparison to starches. So you could say like sweets in comparison to brown dark bread or whole wheat bread or sweet potato. In comparison, the white potato would be short chain carbohydrates. So the more short chain carbohydrates and the more carbohydrates you have in general, the more you're spiking your blood sugar. And there, the supplement might be really beneficial. So some people use it as an excuse. They're healthy all the time, and then they say like, okay, now I'm going to eat a pizza because I can just take berberine or metformin. And yeah, to me, that's just BS. Of course, like some people might say, yeah, but if you're just so strict all the time, you don't have any life quality. But I see for myself, if I'm that strict, what I'm getting out of it. So, and now to rewind back to the rapamycin. So I decided with all the things that I'm doing, it has a lot of benefits for longevity anyways. And I have a really alternative approach and outlook to life. And what makes me the most happy, what fulfills me the most, is evolution. But I'm also motivated as a young male to achieve bigger and bigger things, to climb the mountain. So next goal. But then spiritually, I'm thinking, okay, I'm not just doing that for myself egoistically. I'm doing that to give back. And even that is egoistically, because giving back makes you actually more happy than just serving yourself. But you just have to, you have to get to this level first to be able to focus on giving back. Alone financially, you yourself and your family, you have to be taken care of, and then you can take care of the other of the rest of the planet. May it be humanity, may it be animals, whatever you choose. May it be Gaia, the earth itself, and nature, that you fight for nature. So all of that, those are big goals. And if I have a longer lifespan, I'll be better at achieving those goals.
It's fine. Well, now you got very deep into it again.
I just felt it when I finished the sentence. So this is another topic we could make a 3-hour podcast about.
Jesus Christ. On the list there are actually for now only 3 more substances that I would like to talk with you about. And I know that you will release amazing content in the future that I recommend also everyone to watch about all the other supplements that you like to consume. I will definitely watch them and see what I can learn from you. The three biggest points on your list for me actually are also the best researched substances out there in a long history of science in the last decades, which is creatine, collagen, and sodium. Also probably the most basic nutrients in our diets, even without supplements. I would even say the simplest one, but the biggest one is sodium, because in
Salt.
salt in the most extreme situation where you would have the apocalypses and you couldn't even visit the cities anymore, and you would just need to survive by anything outside. If you have a few kilograms of salt in your house, you can fast for months without dying. So it's maybe not the optimal longevity, but besides optimum longevity, it's also always important to mention the short-term survival, because I can have the best health, but maybe someone comes into my house and robs me, or will even practice violence against me if I cannot protect myself, or in extreme situations that are very possible in the next 50 years. We need to have these hacks to just survive, you know. In that sense, salt, but also short term for athletic performance, all the salt that we sweat out in the workout, of course. And the numbers, the officially recommended numbers on sodium, in my opinion, are much too low. We can and we should consume much more sodium. It's again very intuitive. You will feel when it's too much, but you don't have to be scared to salt your food. There are like the most chemicals and the processed food together with salt, they may cause problems, but salt on clean diets and in a clean lifestyle is so critical.
Then also depends on the salt itself.
Also, of course, yeah. Definitely always
so the
for
iodized
organic
salt, this is a waste product. So
Uh,
this is
industrial waste
the
burn, yeah.
normal table salt.
No, terrible.
So
Yeah.
then I would even the sea salt. This is something one could fight about. But the cleanest salt, just talking about salt, would be the health Himalaya salt.
No.
And as
There's also
if
good
you think,
salt from mines in Germany, actually. Probably it's not
yeah,
rich in different minerals as the
it's
Himalayan salt, but can be even more economical.
but
Oh,
this is what we're talking about. It's not a waste product.
yeah.
That it's not dirty. So
Mm.
we talk about it's millions of years old,
Mm-hmm.
and
Well matured.
it's clean, it's a rock, and it tastes the best. This is also really important.
And then the creatine, would you maybe also consume it prior to skating?
Prior to
To skating.
skating,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I consume it prior to my workouts.
Also, yeah.
Yeah,
To maybe to get a more
it doesn't take you out of
yeah.
fasting.
No, definitely not. It has no calories. It's probably the best research supplement there is out there. And then it's very helpful to compare the amount of natural creatine in meat, to get a also again a healthy relation to the amounts of red meat that can, and in my opinion should be consumed, is the recommended dosage of clean creatine supplementation would be about 3 to 5 grams, right?
Yeah,
And to get the same amount of creatine in the natural state, or also in a compound from red meat, you would consume 1 to 1.5 kilograms of red meat, and you get the same amount approximately.
but now you're talking about wet meat.
Red
Talking
meat.
about white meat, it has way less. So
Yeah.
if you consume a lot of red meat like you do, you
Mhm.
would actually not need to supplement it.
Yeah, and I don't. Yeah. So in Germany sometimes, and if I and if it's available, I might do it. But if I eat enough red meat, I don't exactly. There was this other aspect. Maybe I will cut this out. I mean, it also has almost been 3 hours now. It's fine.
You can also cut out the
So,
rapamycin. I switch it up.
yeah, I will.
I like the supplement I explained was
Yeah.
actually not rapamycin. I switch up the names.
Ah, which did you explain?
I'll have to check on my list. Yeah, I take
Okay.
so many, man, and
Well,
like some of them I just added recently.
okay.
So, like I will do videos about
Cool.
all of those
Yeah.
anyways, and they
Yeah.
are like we research before again.
Yeah.
So at one point you add them to your regimen, and then you can't remember all the reasons anymore. Why you added them in the first
I know
place.
that. Yeah, it's okay. Um, what uh what I will be releasing again much more, and I will continue to do so. That is a content that I recommend, is about the research and the application of variable resistance. We might not have time today actually to get into it, but
Mhm.
I will make huge promises also to you, my friend Philip. You will all be practicing variable resistance at latest in 10 years, if not yet next
All
year.
right.
Like variable
We
resistance
have
will
actually 20 more
complete,
minutes.
yeah, variable resistance will completely revolutionize the fitness industry.
Mhm.
Like most gyms will completely change in the next 10 years to apply much more variable resistance. I think if it's fine for you, we'll get into this. That's actually the last point on our list. And then maybe just to finish off the supplements, there is the collagen. Um,
Mhm.
our body is made up, I think even 70% of collagen. You know,
Mhm.
one of the most complexest protein that contains the most variety of amino acids. And there is a particular collagen supplement that I recommend, which is a completely 100% organic beef-based bovine collagen. I think the beef is grass-fed in England, and it's
Mhm.
like 90% pure protein. Um,
Okay.
Tastes delicious, can even be used very nice in dishes for sauces and so on. Has like a
Mhm.
salty, sweet taste. And I like to have huge dosages of this. Or if you want to go more natural and more
Just to add to this,
yeah.
so for the collagen, I actually used to take collagen as well. These days, I take L-glycine. It's an amino acid that has the same effects. You have to take less. Can
Okay, what
research
same
about it.
effects does it have?
Yeah, like it has the same effects collagen has on the body.
Well, but that is what I don't understand. From what I understood, collagen is just such a complete protein and also so saturating. But that the body uses collagen not even only for muscles, but just to construct, to generate cartilage, to recover joints and tendons and hairs and nails and so on. And you say glycine does the same thing.
Yes.
Oh, that would require some more research, or maybe just me looking up more of it. Maybe you can cover this in your future content, because I really doubt this. Collagen is made up of glycine. Glycine is a compound of collagen, but there are not hundreds, but dozens of more amino acids inside of collagen. Would be
Let's
interesting,
talk about this at one point again.
definitely.
I also will look into my research again.
And then I think for the last minutes, we make a small glimpse into variable resistance. You might hear the water.
Yeah, I can hear it.
Okay. So, a basic biomechanical review on our body, how our body functions. Uh, we will use a practical example, which is the bench press. I will do it standing. Um, and I will use the X3 bar. It's a complete bar that is able to withhold even you could probably even hang a car on this. It will not break. You have a lifelong guarantee on this, and it's my gym that I have in my bag since 2 years. I don't visit gyms anymore. Oh, I have a neighbor here visiting. Yo, buenos días, ¿cómo está? Ah, bueno. So, and then we would use these caoutchouc bands that are 4-layered. So so they will not break in your lifetime. Also, neither. You saw an application of variable resistance on the internet also, which is with chains that you would hang additionally on your bars. And I will explain you in a short moment why these chains are so useful and why they have the same effect as these bands. So let's make the example of the bench press. When we go through a repetition, while we go through the different ranges of motion, our body has a natural curve of strength. That means that when I'm here, I am actually the weakest. And when I extend, here I'm 7 times stronger. Okay? And when I go back, I become weaker and weaker and weaker, and I'm 7 times weaker. When we use free weights, we cannot, unfortunately, take advantage of the strength curve because we are limited by our weakest range of motions. For example, in the bench press, when you lie down with free weights and you start at the top, at the moment you could handle 7 times more weight, but you use the lower weight because when you lower down, you still have to be able to push it. Otherwise, the weight would crush onto you, or you would have to have your workout partner to hold the weight for you. With these bands, but also with the chains and probably more technologies that are coming out in the next years, we can take advantage of the strength curve and have an incredibly higher growth stimulus. And you literally feel it. You feel another high just in 20 minutes of workout. Why? Because here, the band is not very stretched. So it probably right now, it only pushes 10 to 20 kilograms onto me. When I push about here, this can be measured with an app, also according to your body height. I probably have 80 or 90 kilograms on my chest. So this is an easy example. I would use other bands, for example, like the black band. So with the black band, here I might have about 30 kilograms. When I'm here, depending on my body height, I have 100 to 120 kilograms. I personally am not able to handle 100 kilograms here. I would have to stop the workout. I cannot handle 100 kilograms, but I can handle 120 kilograms in my stronger range of motion. The same
Important
applies.
to add with the chains that they not just hang on the bar, that they actually lay on the floor,
On
that the
the
chains
ground.
are long enough.
Yeah. So in the example of a squat, when you're lower to the ground, when you're in the weak range of motions of the squat, most of the chains will lie on the ground and they will not have any effect on you. They will not push weight onto the bar. But the higher you stand up, the more chains you will rise into the air, and the more weight they will put on your body. So with the X3 bar and the bands, it's the same. We use actually this podest for it. So I will also demonstrate a front squat like this. So I stand up here, and then the higher I get, the more weight the band puts on my body. So and then the front squat, I would use, for example, the elite band, the orange band, which is this one. It's even very heavy. You see, like from the way it moves, it's heavy. When I'm in the extended range of motions in the front squat, I squat 200 kilograms. But I couldn't squat as a semi-professional athlete and also other priorities in business and family. I don't have time to work to squat 200 kilograms in my weak range of motion. So
not on your front squat.
Not on my front squat.
Like on your squat, it will be possible.
Could be, yeah. But also but then this is just way deeper into the topic. Like there is a complete change in so many things with these bands. You wouldn't even have to warm up, because even though you are generating much more force during the workout, you still always have the perfectly adapted force to your ability of strength. There is much less injury risk, but at the same time more force output, so also more anabolic growth response. I saw that you do often 2 sets, which I find perfect using free weights. Sometimes I even also do 2 sets per exercise with these resistance bands, but usually I do 1 set all in between 15 and 40 repetitions. According to the statistics, this has the highest growth response, because simply...
Now we can't just talk about reps, we have to talk about time under tension.
Exactly,
because it's really important how fast you perform your reps, and then it's still the eccentric, the going down, which usually should be slower, and then the concentric, the pushing up,
faster, explosive. But then it's not only even time under tension. To give you an example, if you do twice 20 reps, that's in total 40 reps. But it's not the same growth response as doing 1 time 40 repetitions. And that doesn't have to do with the muscle, but with the endocrine system. Because the muscles eventually will produce the same force output. That's true. They will realize 40 repetitions. But the nervous system reacts differently to 1 time 40 repetitions, because it has this, it's not only in the total amount, but the 1 time amount of stress output into the endocrine system. It will really like realize the nervous system that it's too weak. You have to show the nervous system that it's too weak. It doesn't care about actually the nervous system, about how often it is triggered. It cares about how hard or how electronically like in electromagnetic, no electromagnetic, but in
if you talk about hypertrophy,
hypertrophy, just electrical resistance. You have a more high electrical resistance stressor on the nervous system if you do this 1 set of 40 repetitions and completely push it. Even with your free weights, you should start to experiment and have an open eyes for the research about it. That, for example, 1 set with free weights of 20 repetitions could have a higher growth response, or trigger a higher growth response in your case, than doing 2 times 15 repetitions, which is in total 30 repetitions. But your nervous system with 25 repetitions or 20 repetitions in a row, uninterruptedly, without putting down the weight, it has to be like this complete continual stress factor for the whole set. There might be not even a millisecond of interruption. In the end, the nervous system might produce more growth hormone and more testosterone. And that is what eventually defines the result. That's it for now. There is a huge new body of research coming up.
To just explain it a bit more scientifically. So you have a baseline, and you have so to basically you just have to get over this baseline once to have an impulse for the muscle to grow. It's no use to continuously go over this baseline. So once you have pushed this baseline, you can go for the next exercise. You can train the next muscle. Everything else, it's just putting a strain on your immune system, and on your time alone. But going back to the immune system, I actually was doing natural bodybuilding for quite some years, and this is some time ago, but I had to stop because I overtrained. I fucked up my immune system, and I had a really high volume workout. And I'm not saying that it doesn't work, but then you have the other extreme of only one set, and there the injury risk might be also higher. So what I found for myself is usually I go for exercises, 2 sets, warmed up properly. I train the muscles antagonistically, saying I might do a set of biceps and then I might do a set of triceps. And for the smaller muscles, the injury risk, depending on how I'm positioned while I'm doing the exercise, might be lower. Then there I might only do 1 set to achieve the same result. But let's say I'm doing heavy squats, I don't have a partner. It might be actually dangerous to just go for 1 set.
Okay, that's okay. It makes sense. This is why also the application of variable resistance is different with the application of free weights. Well, I guess we are just starting, bro. And it's for me a high pleasure and honor to see your evolution and to continuously check up with each other in the next years, continue to exchange information. The science is always evolving, although we should stick to the science. We also need to see where the science might be wrong, and that is also just a question of patience and time. What else? I mean,
it's been 3 hours.
It's been
I think
3
we're
hours.
good. We don't have to add anything else. It doesn't feel like 3 hours for me with all my nootropics.
Thank you.
But no, like it was a pleasure. Energetically, was recharging, even though we're really concentrated trying to provide the best content.
Starting fresh into the day. I hope you have a nice wind down this afternoon, a good sleep tonight, good regeneration. Yeah, next time, hang out. Next year in person again. We'll see where we cross.
Let's